Hey, thanks for watching Four Color Commentary. This is Mark Allen, and glad you're back. And I thought I'd share. I've got kind of a strange contraption set up here, just so I can just so I can show you some of my Black Friday shopping deals. Now, every year, every Black Friday, I try to make the Black Friday sale at a Tulsa, Oklahoma establishment called Wizards Asylum. And they have a Black Friday sale in which all of their wall comics are $5, and those are comics that, wall comics can be a little bit deceptive, but it's basically and generally comics that can range anywhere from $30 to $80 in value, and they all go on sale for $5. And then and there's a number system. You have to get there early. There's people I know this year. Someone got there as early as 11:45 p.m. the previous evening, so they were there at 11:45 p.m. on Thanksgiving. So I ended up being about 8th in line, and so I did get some good snags, and we'll talk about various reasons why I got what I got. But just jump right into it, and the first one is a Detective Comics number 464, and this is a story with the character Batman goes against the character called the Black Spider. Now, this is a nostalgia purchase, is what this is, and for $5 you can't beat it because it does guide for more than that. It's a nice copy, and this is one of the first Batman books I ever remember picking up. The other was a World's Finest that had Batman and Superman. All I remember about the story, and I can picture the cover even now. I've seen it a few times since my childhood, but Batman and Superman go up against a bunch of evil vampire children. I know that sounds strange to some of you. The older ones are probably going to go, "Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about." But anyway, this is one of the first Batman books I can remember seeing, and I was lucky to snag that for $5. I remember reading that or looking at that as a kid. Next, I have a Batman number 245. Just really enjoy. Always one of those early Batman comics. It is Neal Adams, and cover as well as interiors. And I've always enjoyed those particular Batman books that feature the work of Neal Adams. And so that was a good catch. I was happy about that. Also, Batman number 236. I've always enjoyed that cover. I think it's a great dramatic cover. And it's just, again, for $5 a piece, some of these I bought for the covers. I'll be real honest with you, because I'll snag any Neal Adams cover I can for a reasonable price, and just always enjoy his dramatic work. Batman, or Detective Comics, I'm sorry, Detective Comics number 414. The Lighthouse cover, as some know it as, and that's actually the second copy. I have two copies of that particular issue, and again, just the drama, just the coloring, and the realism of Neal Adams' style. Neal Adams was really just kind of the first, what I consider the first uber realistic artist, comic book artist. There's a line, I think. I like Alex Ross's work, but Alex Ross is more of a photorealist artist. And I think for comic book art, this is just me, there has to be a line there. You go so far into making it realistic, and then but you keep the attitude and the atmosphere of comic books in there. It's not easy to do with a photorealistic artist. But Adams did it. He's not photorealistic in my estimation, just realistic. But I like those covers of his. I will always snag those. Snagged another one, Batman number 237, and again, always like that death cover. And it's got Robin on there, and just Batman racing to the rescue. But again, another great Neal Adams cover for $5. Can't beat it. Another $5 comic, $5 wall book. Daredevil number 141. This is, I believe, the second appearance of Bullseye. This is another nostalgia piece. This is one of the first Daredevil comics I ever had as a kid. Enjoyed it, and always that's one of those covers. That's a Dave Cockrum cover, of course, and that sticks with you. There's some artists that just have a particular style. Now, to a large extent, and I've always said this, and I always will, comic art is like any art. It is very subjective, but this is one of those books this is one of those covers for me. And Dave Cockrum is one of those artists who has a very clean, concise, dramatic style, very clean lines, not cluttered, and you always know exactly what's going on. This cover stuck with me, has always stuck with me. And so, again, not an easy book to get in high grade. This one's high grade. Got it for $5. Couldn't pass it up. So that also was in my $5 bin, or my $5 choice. And then this is probably the best $5 acquisition I made on Black Friday, and that was Avengers Annual number 8, first appearance of Rogue. And this is a book I've had before. Interesting story about that. Had it signed, did not have a certificate of authenticity, but I had it signed myself by Michael Golden, and it was a very fine to very fine plus copy. And this book went, I put it on eBay. It ended up going for $12 and change. Still boggles my mind. This was within a year. This was within this last year. Signed by Michael Golden, but no certificate of authenticity. And some people, when I asked about that, some just said, hey, some people are strange about signatures these days. They want them to have the COA. Anyway, so when I got a chance to snag this again for $5, I did it. And don't know if I'll keep it or flip it. Who knows? But it is a great book. And for $5, couldn't pass it up. Now, a few other $5 books that came out of a $5 box. Okay, there are the $5 wall books, and then the wall books that are in a box. You know, it just depends on who you are and what you're looking for as to which ones are really the best value. But a Man-Thing number 13, and I have been working on a run of Man-Thing, the Volume 1. Volume 1 with having a lot of the John Buscema and especially Michael Plug artwork and such as that. A couple of Bruner covers in there. And so just again, for $5, snagged that. Another series that I'm slowly working on as I can get them is the Joker. And this is the Joker number 3 with whoever. I have to think that whenever this book first hit the stands, that somebody thought, well, the Joker versus the Creeper, of course. Who could possibly be the one hero that would annoy the life out of the Joker, the Creeper? Well, I don't know. I haven't read it yet, but a great cover and just one of those books, one of those series. It's not a long series, just had a few issues. I'm trying to track all those down. So $5 was a deal. Marvel Chillers number 1. Now, if you're like me, you like the Bronze Age Marvel horror books. A lot of them are reprints, and of course this has some great reprints in it. I believe there's even a couple of Doug Wildey reprints in there. But Mordred the Mystic is the story, the main story in this one, and so Marvel Chillers number 1, and always happy to get a number 1 of a Marvel Bronze Age horror book. Another nostalgia purchase is Daredevil number 82, or Daredevil Faces the Scorpion, and love that Gil Kane cover, and also just remember the story from when I was a kid. And I remember thinking I was old enough to know that, wow, that's a Spider-Man villain, and Daredevil's gonna, get his head handed to him by a Spider-Man villain. Now, it was Bronze Age, early Bronze Age Marvel, so Daredevil won. But really, should Daredevil have beaten the Scorpion? Who knows? But anyway, great book. I love the cover. One of those larger than life covers, even though. Kind of had the Marvel was kind of doing the box style there, where you had even less art seemingly, but Gil Kane really made that come alive and made it look like it was breaking borders. All right, again, just one of those chasing down runs. Master of Kung Fu number 23. What I needed for my runs. I've almost got everything, every issue of that Shang-Chi run through number 50. I'm just looking to get particular issues, but anyway, so Master of Kung Fu number 23, and then that's another $5 book, the last of the $5 book. Well, technically, Iron Man number 2, King Size Special, basically Iron Man Annual number 2, but great book. And again, love that cover. That is an early Sal Buscema cover, if I'm not mistaken. Can't say who inked it or if perhaps Sal inked it. You get into these older books, it's hard to get the information, but it's definitely Sal Buscema work in there. I can tell by Iron Man, the Iron Man character and his pose. So anyway, just another great. Well, actually, it says Sal Buscema right on there. So yes, Sal Buscema cover, and that is early on in his work for Marvel. And so Iron Man King Size Special #2. Now this next book, if you're familiar with the Marvel Fireside books from the 70s, that's the first thing this will remind you of. However, it is not a Fireside book. It is an early Marvel trade paperback, even though it's kind of done in the sense of a Fireside book, has the appearance. It's Mighty Marvel Team Up Thrillers. This is one I had actually never seen before, and got that for a decent price from a guy running a booth at the Tulsa flea market. And this was after I left Wizards Asylum, but anyway, great book, and just a really neat find that I'd never seen before. Thought I'd seen all of the and I'll say again, Fireside type books. All right, this is not a Fireside book, but it's like that. And this was published solely by Marvel Cadence. And so anyway, a great book. I was glad to find there. Now these next books were basically the $3 to $5 books. They're $5, but if you bought 7, you got them for $20, which was a little less than $3 an issue. So we'll start off with this What If Loki Had Found the Hammer of Thor. Now, that is an amazing cover by Bill Sienkiewicz. But here's the thing, the interiors of this, if you didn't know, and I didn't know, I'm not an expert on all the What If comics, but the interiors are early Kelly Jones interiors. And Kelly Jones, who has gone on to be great, I personally liked Kelly Jones' art on the Batman series during the 90s, and that's where he really, he did a great job to me. I loved his earlier, a few years ago, during the Convergence and after the DC Convergence material, he did some Swamp Thing, a 6-issue Swamp Thing miniseries. Loved his Swamp Thing. He's got a little bit of a Bernie Wrightson style, some say. I see it sometimes, but Kelly Jones, to me, really very much his own artist. But this is some early Kelly Jones art. If you see this in a box somewhere and it's not very much, pick it up because it looks good. Even his early art looks very nice. I like it. This was a book that I bought for the cover. This is Blue Ribbon Comics #1. Sorry I didn't look at the year. It's going to be an 80s book, obviously. Got some Fly reprints in there, Jack Kirby Fly reprints, if I recall correctly. Let me check very quickly, and I'll get you a publication year as well. But the reason, and while I'm doing that, the reason why I got this book is it's actually a Ditko cover, inked by Rudy Nebres. I don't know, Nebres. All right, and but yes, these are old Jack Kirby reprints. And this is a 1983 book, a 1983 comic. So Blue Ribbon Comics #1, some Fly reprints. That is a Ditko cover, inked by Rudy Nebres. So it's an interesting combination. I always like to see Ditko inked by different artists, or other artists inked by Ditko. So it's just always kind of cool to see. Beware #4, just another Marvel Bronze Age horror book, and with just a bunch of reprints in there. The reprints, most of the reprints in the Marvel Bronze Age horrors, they're worth having because they're going to be difficult in general to get for the average collector these days anyway, because of the prices they would command. But lots of Kirby and Ditko stories, plus lots of various other stories, some early Romita, as I mentioned before, Doug Wildey in there somewhere, which if you don't know Doug Wildey, he's the creator of Johnny Quest, and just did also Rio, if you like Western comics, the Western graphic novels Rio, that's a Doug Wildey creation. And so anyway, I always like to get the Bronze Age Marvel books, and that is a Gil Kane cover as well. Just a great Great book, great book. Another book that ended up being basically $3, and this finished a Bronze Age run for me, The Inhumans, number 12. Yeah, number 12. And unlike the rest of the Inhumans run, that was George Perez did not do the art in this book. It was actually Keith Pollard. And Pollard, a very underrated artist in my estimation, did some amazing Spider-Man in the 70s, maybe early 80s as well. I can't remember how much that extended, but he kind of came in between Ross Andru and John Romita Jr. Runs there, and but Keith Pollard did a few of those, and Keith Pollard did some fantastic work, some Fantastic Four work, and it was great, solid Fantastic Four work, I thought. Again, before the right in there before the Byrne run, and well, there was the Byrne run, and then there was there were the issues that were being written by Marv Wolfman, where Byrne was doing some stand-ins. You had some Sal Buscema, some Byrne, John Byrne. You had right in there in that area where they, the Xandar story, where the Skrulls shot 3 of the members of the Fantastic Four with an aging ray. They're getting older. You have the introduction of Terrax. You have the introduction of Herbie within just a few issues there. Right before that and into that story, Keith Pollard did a lot of Fantastic Four work. And so anyway, Keith Pollard did the interiors on Inhumans number 12. He may have done that cover as well, but I'm not sure. I don't see an artist signature on there, so someone might be able to tell me who did that. Another Bronze Age Marvel book, Vault of Evil number 9, one of the giant hands covers, like those giant hands covers. They're just that mysterious, awful giant hand reaching out there, to cause menace and mayhem. And there you have it. So, and worse, it's a giant furry hand. So anyway, just another $3, ended up being a $3 book. Now, this one I was kind of excited about. This is one I've been looking for off and on. Had it for a short time when it first came out, and wanted it again for the first appearance. But this is Mage, number 1, The Hero Discovered. This is the first appearance of Kevin Matchstick, Mage. And just one of those great independent books, independent comics from the 80s. And I always liked this book. I always liked Matt Wagner's work, and again, just it's 1984. Okay, 1984. So it was an 80s book, but just always liked this character. I liked the references to King Arthur and Excalibur, with Kevin Matchstick's glowing baseball bat, and anyway, just always liked that book. So for $3. You couldn't really complain. I couldn't really complain on that one. Charlton Action, featuring Static. This is Charlton Action number 12, featuring Static. I'm just going back and getting all those. That is, of course, a Steve Ditko creation, Static is. And why do I have it? It's Ditko. So there you go. Why else would I have it? It's Ditko. And so trying to go back and get all of those that I can now. Another book that I casually acquire when I can, and it's not easy because they're either hard to find in high grade, or if you find them in high grade, people want a ton of money for them. These I got for $3 a piece. Mighty Samson. Sorry, the numbers are on the inside. Let me see. Let me make sure. Let me, just for the record, do this so that we have the issue numbers. I should have had these on the outside. Mighty Samson number 7. Okay. The thing about these Mighty Samson comic books was the covers. The covers were always gorgeous. And that is Mighty Samson number 7. And you can just gaze upon that, getting another message. You got to learn to silence that phone when I'm doing videos. Alright, so there's Mighty Samson number 7. And then Mighty Samson number 17. This is also a beautiful cover. Just a great couple of books for $3 a piece. Couldn't lose, couldn't go wrong. And so Mighty Samson, those gold key books. Very few gold key books I go after, and but those are a couple of them. Now, just a few more here. Dollar books. There was a run of Wolverine comics, about a 6-issue run that in the 80s, when about 1989, when John Byrne did the art. on them, and just a couple of anything Byrne. I really like it right up to about the early '90s, and so it was nice to see Byrne revisit the character of Wolverine. I already have the all but one of this 6-issue run of Byrne. It goes through issue 22, and I just always enjoyed the Byrne's work on the X-Men, even though it's a series I can't really own anymore. Get into that another time. But when he did the art for this run of Wolverine, I just really wanted to collect those, and it was nice. It was he's inked by Klaus Janson in this, and of course Klaus Janson, most artists that he inks, he does a great job on, and Byrne is one of them. I like the combination of John Byrne and Klaus Janson. So dollar books there. Let's see here. I don't need to share all of these. Oh, here's one dollar book. The New Mutants Special Edition from 1986. 85. Anyway, 85. Arthur Adams art throughout the book. Cover is fantastic. It's actually a two-sided cover, and just amazing, wonderful, detailed Arthur Adams work. There, of course, is the front cover, and there, of course, is the back. If you ever come upon this book for $5 or less, snatch it up. It was actually part of a two-part story, but this book, I remember finding this book back in the day and just being so thrilled. Great story, great art, and just a wonderful book. Again, another nostalgic purchase. Going back and trying to get a lot of the Sal Buscema art runs on the Hulk, and just the stories were wonderful. And yeah, just one of those covers that I remember. Herb Trimpe came back and did that cover, and so picked that one up for $1. Now this was an interesting find for $1. Another appearance of Adam Warlock, but one of the appearances that kind of went up in price for a while, but it was Hulk Annual number 6. Now, it's a $1 book, but it is a beater. All right, I like beaters, I like readers, because I put them on my comic rack for my boys. I have a comic spinner rack, and it was actually in the background of the last video. But this one for $1 will probably go up there. Fun story, and found it for $1. Just a couple more here. A Web of Spider-Man number 26. Had this one because it's a wonderful, beautiful Charles Vess cover, and that's what makes it worthwhile there. To be honest, and no disrespect to the interior artist, but I can't even tell you who did the interiors because I can't get past the cover. And the cover is just one of those, and Charles Vess is one of those artists. But $1 book, great deal for $1. And then Green Lantern number 50, with the end of the Emerald Twilight storyline, where Hal Jordan goes nuts and murders a bunch of Green Lanterns and everything. And just this is, I believe, that would be the first appearance of Parallax, but it's a glow-in-the-dark cover, and that's why I have it. That and the story is great because I have the story collected, but that's a great cover. I love those gimmick covers. I don't go out and buy every gimmick cover, but for $1 I buy them. And so anyway, that's Black Friday. Now I'm going to do one other thing for this video, and that is, a while back I was watching a video from I subscribed to a channel called Key Comics Market Watch. Give it a try, give it a check. And but they were talking about, the gentleman was talking about the Fantastic Four 587 variant. This is the Fantastic Four 587 was the book in which the Human Torch died, and of course nobody dies in the Marvel Universe anymore, not for good. But there's a variant on it, and what he was saying was that if you take it out of the plastic bag, and if the variant is black instead of blue, most of them are blue, but a very small percentage of them are black, and the ones that are black command great prices on eBay because they're so rare. So I'm going to go over to the comics, dig mine out, take it out of the plastic bag, and see what color that logo is. So let's check it out. Alright, so I'm going to go to box number 9 here. Alright, we're looking for Fantastic Four, number 587. Well, let's see. I have actually more than one copy of it. I have actually more than one copy of 586 as well. But here's one copy of Fantastic Four 587. Has the blue logo on there, if you can see that. And but I have one in the bag as well. And so what we're going to do is right here on YouTube, I'm going to crack this one open and find out, oh man, it's not sealed. It's not sealed. I thought I was going to crack it open myself. And it's not sealed. Oh well. And of course, lo and behold, it's the blue logo. So no ultra rare black logo for me. Can that even show? There we go. It's just blue. That's it. So, oh well, it's a good read anyway. And Johnny stayed dead for a little while, not forever. Well, that thing not being sealed makes me wonder if it's always, you know, if I know I didn't open it. So much for what you get in the dollar boxes. Let that be a lesson to all of us. You never know what you're getting in the dollar boxes. Hey, thanks for watching 4Color Commentary, and hope you'll come back. If you haven't subscribed, do subscribe, and come back again. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.